After what felt like decades, Berserk has finally released its next chapter, and it's good. We open with a swirling pathway much like the explosion of Fantasia, with Guts being conscious in this astral plane, feeling as though he is being swept away, and it also reminds me of the experience we saw Griffith go through as he lost his remaining humanity in the eclipse. However, Shirkei then materializes with a comforting smile, inviting Guts to come with her and not be swept away. Shirkei has been immobilized in the physical realm for quite a few chapters ever since she embarked upon a magical rite to locate the whereabouts of Casca after her abduction, and with this embracing look and implied sense of direction, it suggests to us that Shirkei has indeed found her. As she pulls Guts' hand up, we flash back to reality, a dark, dingy cell in which his arm is chained, providing a nice little paralleling transition from astral to physical. Guts' expression remains unchanged, hopeless and exhausted, imprisoned in a physical manifestation of his mental state, chained and weak. We finally see some of the Kushan architecture, the empire itself being obviously inspired from Indian, Arabian and other South Asian civilizations, and it certainly looks detailed. Clearly efforts are being made, even if they cannot match what once was, such as the original Falconia art. It is nice to know they haven't completely sacrificed the quality just yet. Rickett remains confused on why Guts has been locked up, but Silat calmly diffuses this by explaining the danger of someone of his caliber being allowed to roam freely around, and therefore detention was the safest option for the time being. Despite many characters losing certain glows to their characters recently, Daiba remains quite magnificent in his design, those dark, deep, soulless eyes piercing Rickett as he takes him to Shirkei's resting place. Ivalora comments on how Shirkei has never messed up this badly by diving so far into the deepest layers, and as we know, you can get permanently lost if you do not retain commitment to your physical form. As Daiba admires the prowess of Shirkei amongst the cliché fantasy wizard gang, it made me wonder just how much potential Shirkei has as a sorcerer. Her arsenal is already vast at such a tender age, and imagine the devastating ferocity her prime could bring. Certainly a person Griffith must remain cautious of in the future. Silat and Roderick connect a little more, Silat understanding the struggles the crew went through without a home or desired purpose, but moves on rather abruptly. The dialogue within this chapter is very forward, leaving little room for interpretation. Daiba reminisces the time he fought Guts whilst he still remained under Ganishka's command, claiming Guts was his only equal in battle ever, and this shocks Rickett as he continues to be connected to the same people as Guts. Daiba claims the witches as being valuable to his purpose, and Silat gives him permission to fall under Daiba's command. We get two shots of Morda, her gigantic pair of fan services on show for the Twitter army to spam about, and Silat firmly confirms that as the ship entered Kushan territories, their journey ended, and by custom they now serve the military as refugees. My favourite dialogue of the chapter is spoken by the wizened Daiba, who claims fate has a purpose for the meeting like this, and should approach the next phase of operations with a friendlier relation than Silat was originally offering, the interaction ending with another outside shot of the glorious palace structure. Isidro is in a non-verbal mood, brushing off Puck's attempt for conversation, which apparently is contagious as Puck ignores Rickett's attempt for conversation. This moment is really odd. I was discussing it with some acquaintances on a Berserk server, and no one could really come to a satisfying answer as to why. We suspected Puck either didn't want to talk to Rickett due to what happened to Casca, potentially saving Rickett some pain. However, this doesn't explain his cold-natured ignorance to Rickett, who he definitely remembers. Rickett does not need Puck's confirmation to understand Griffith's influence had to be at play, the beautiful demon being drawn as seductively as ever in the background. Silat informs the refugees of the rather obvious implications the Kushan are preparing for warfare. A lovely double spread panel shows Griffith's force with all the main players such as Granbeld, Zod, Locus, Griffith and Sonya, who oddly enough is the only one looking a different direction from the other forces, perhaps implying she is aware of the goings on in the Kushan city, with that cheeky smirk indicating she can hear us. As we know, Griffith has already shown his desire to head east, and it is possible Sonya's psychic powers have some use to Griffith's choices. Silat practically admits to Griffith's omnipotent sphere of influence. The ability to change the world down to its fundamental principles is not a phrase often uttered, but regardless of this, they must attempt to resist, simply because Griffith is the enemy. Whilst I wouldn't say I agree that Griffith inherently fears anything, as Silat claims, this is most likely an attempt of his to rile up the crew with emotionally charged urgency in his tone. The chapter ending ending with a rather exciting prospect of what's to come. The bells of the coming conflict have indeed begun to chime, and perhaps this is the war to end all wars. Things to take away from this chapter is that Guts is still in a pit of despair, however slightly more hopeful as he is at least safe to recoup his strength and mental fortitude. Shirkei remains lost in the deep layers with no sign of her awakening soon, and the Kushan forces prepare for warfare against Griffith, even ready to take the initiative and attack rather than withstand. I do still wonder how any side would hope to defeat Griffith and Falconia in a conventional war, given that we have already seen from arguably the most destructive apostle of all time in Ganishka falling flat with ease to Griffith's omnipotence, and alongside this the thousands of war demons and high-ranking generals in Griffith's army would surely swipe away any competition, an unstoppable force for example. Guts will more than likely be recruited to the Kushan ranks, as they will share a purpose in defeating Griffith, much like the allies formed of the USSR and USA to defeat Germany. Yet whilst this war is being slowly built up, there is going to need to be a serious shift in power or revelation that gives me hope into how they could defeat Griffith. Perhaps the combined forces of the magical users could weaken Griffith's army, who knows. We do know that Berserk is resuming its hiatus for next month's release, but hopefully not as long as the last one. I've never been much of a fan of the grey overlay that Studio Gaga seems to use for most shots, however when they focus on the darkness it is very beautiful to look at, such as Guts' prison cell scenes. Overall a good chapter, much of what the majority of us expected, the incorporation of Kushan territory, and at least some insight into the state of Guts, with an exciting ending to wrap it up. Anyways guys, that's going to be all within this video. I truly cannot wait until this conflict fully starts and we see Guts level up further, no doubt. Like and subscribe to never miss out on Berserk related content, but until the next one, peace out.